Let's continue talking about Emerald Tablets. This is part 8. Long dwelt we in the land of Chem, long and yet long again, until obeying the commands of the Master, who while sleeping yet lives eternally, I sent from me the sons of Atlantis, send them in many directions, that from the womb of time wisdom might rise again in her children. Once again, Thoth is saying here that he dwelt for a very long time in the land of Chem. Long dwelt we in the land of Chem. I sent from me the sons of Atlantis, send them in many directions. Here Thoth is saying that he was the father to these people, so they started to think like he. Gradually they became, better and better, and they learned new things, and it was very long and slow process, but eventually they became, the greatest civilization on earth. Long time dwelt I in the land of Chem, doing great works by the wisdom within me. Upward grew into the light of knowledge the children of Chem, watered by the rains of my wisdom. Knowledge, that is the key here. Knowledge is power, and power is knowledge. Blasted I then a path to Amenti, so that I might retain my powers, living from age to age, a son of Atlantis, keeping the wisdom, preserving their records. Basically here Thoth is confirming once again that it's about living from generation to generation, that the mind, the thought is living from generation to generation, and that everything is in your own head, so it's all about what you believe in. If you believe that world is dark and cruel, then world will be dark and cruel to you. If you believe that there is no God in this world, then you will live like there is no God in the world. But if you believe in Atlantis and that there is a better way of living life and coming together as one, and if you strive towards that, that will be your reality. Thoth is trying to teach me and you something here. These deeper meanings and truths of the universe. Great grew the sons of Chem, conquering the people around them, growing slowly upwards in soul force. They started to conquer people around them, and it's not about having a war with them, but it's about showing them a better way of life. And by possessing this knowledge, it almost appeared like they had magic, because Egypt was this magical land, but there is no such thing as magic. Like I explained in the first part, there is no such thing as Ooga Booga magic or, Harry Potter magic. That type of magic does not exist. However, we have science, and if you have advanced science, people who don't understand that science, to them you will appear as some sort of a magician, because you can do things they cannot even imagine. But there is no such thing as, magic. That's an illusion that comes from your ignorance. Thoth is also mentioning here growing slowly upwards in soul force. So, soul force, that's a key thing here. Basically, it has to do with spirituality. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep in the halls of the earth, before the lords of the powers, face to face once again with the dweller. This is also very deep, and this kind of shows you that everything goes through cycles. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti. So here he is trying to tell you that he is coming close to the end of this cycle and he will disappear again. So if you look at this tablet, the first tablet, he's kind of explaining you this whole cycle, that he was born and then he had a mentor, and then there was this, great flood and Atlantis sunk, and then he started all over again in the land of Chem, and then he was teaching them the better way, and when they became better than the rest of the world, and when they started to spread out, Thoth decided that it was time for him to go, and that's what he's saying here. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti. Raised I high over the entrance a doorway, a gateway leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare it, few passed the portal to dark Amenti. Raised over the passage I, a mighty pyramid, using the power that overcomes earth force. Deep and yet deeper placed I a force house or chamber. From it carved I a circular passage, reaching almost to the great summit. One thing here that we can reflect on is that you can never reach your final destination, and you always have to grow, and you always have to look for light. That's one way how you can look at it. There in the apex set I the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti. So, There in the apex sat I the crystal. The crystal could mean many different things here, and like always you can look at it from many different perspectives and from many different levels. And one way how you can look at it is that Great Summit could symbolize the highest point of spiritual attainment or consciousness. And also crystal could mean opening of one's inner vision or attainment of the highest consciousness, and you know, that's kind of what these tablets are all about. So there are many ways how you can look at it. And I also like when he's saying sending the ray into the time space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti, sending the ray into the time space. That is very, very deep, drawing the force from out of the ether. One way how you can look at it is that Thoth is talking about power of creation here. How you can create new time and how you can create new space, and all of that comes from your mind. And that's kind of what Thoth is saying here. There in the apex sat I the crystal, sending the ray into the time space. So basically everything is created in your mind, and when you want to achieve things, you have to do that in your mind first. Let's say if you want to lose some weight, then you visualize yourself losing this weight. Visualize yourself doing what needs to be done in order to lose those extra kilos or pounds. That's how you start. Or if you are dreaming of having a nicer house or a nicer car, you need to see it in your mind first, because everything comes from your mind. You have to have this vision, and that's how you can create a new time and new space. In order for you to create that time and space, you have to use your mind, because everything comes from your mind.